Hello, guys. If you are just now tuning in, we are live and we are going to wait for the rest of our friends to come in here before we get the full-blown dialogue started. Um, should be a good little show here. I'm expecting it to be a little bit laid back and low key at today because I don't have a whole lot to go over. I do have today because I don't have a whole lot to go over. I do have a holiday cheer Shiner Bock. I suppose they're all the same. I'm pretty sure they're all the same flavor. Really good. They come in different labeled bottles though. Bottles are kind of got that Christmassy look to them. So it's kind of cool. It's got like I said, a different flavor to it. So it's a seasonal blend. So if you got a beer, crack one open and enjoy it and join us for a cold beer because I'm not going to be shy about having me one. It's beer because I'm not going to be shy about having me one. It's pretty cool too. Even the caps have a bit of a seasonal flair to them, if you will. Yeah, guys, drink them if you got them. I'm waiting for you guys to come on in here. Hey, man, Tomahawk 468 is in the room. Let's see, Tomahawk M468 says, Happy Friday, guys. Paul, quick question. Do you think the 1986 FOPA or AK Hughes Act that bans the sale of new machine guns will be repealed? Having only semi-automatic guns isn't freedom. Totally agree with you. Don't think it'll ever be repealed. I think at this point, our any efforts that we have going forward of a repeal of anything gun related, no Republican will back it. Republicans have shown themselves to be complete and total cowards when it comes to the Second Amendment. So at this point, I don't ever expect another Republican to give us anything that we're asking for, the Second Amendment. I'm not trying to be cynical. I just believe that's how it truly is going to be. I think that they're all kind of, they've shown us their true colors. And I feel like they're going to be to the point where we won't know the difference between them and a Democrat. And look, I'm still voting Republican because they're the closest thing that I have to anything that I stand for, and I can't see myself just sitting on the sidelines and not voting. So I am still voting for the majority of those guys. However, I don't have any confidence. I mean, and honestly, guys, name one Republican who would put forth a bill to repeal the Hughes Act. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? First of all, none of them know what it is. There's literally no one in Congress who knows anything about any real firearms history. So you would have to educate them. And they're all so gun shy, no pun intended, because they're ignorant of the subject. So they're not wanting to touch on it in case they screw up and do the wrong thing. So that'll never happen. Not in our lifetime. Oh, not in anybody's lifetime. What's done is done. None of those things will ever change. I mean, we were that close to getting the Hearing Protection Act passed. And then what was it? The Parkland shooting happened and it went away. So actually, no, it was already kind of canned by then. It was the Las Vegas shooting that happened and kind of closed the door on that. So, yeah, sadly, I don't think that we're ever going to have the any of those good old gun control acts reversed. I doubt that's going to happen. Let's see. Shark Chuckers in the room. Sleepy 1208. Richard Portella. Keith Gregory. Mark Chavez. Barry Moore, Mike C, Ty Judge, Seven Wonders, Huge Ass. I bet you giggle every time I say that. Dan is the best three. Eric Davis, I think I said. Peter Aker, Zach Briggs, Sarasota Shaners, James Crum, Ryan Westall, LA Chris. Let's see. I think that's, well, Nick Bradley's in. Jordan, Mel Solios, I guess, I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Jacob Galvin, Spirit of Oi, that's it. Oh, Houston, Texas here, Mel. I think I mentioned your name earlier. Salem, Ohio's in. Greetings, everybody. Man, I don't have a lot of news to go over today, mainly because I didn't go. I'm trying to keep this a little bit festive. Note the lights and the Christmas beer here. And again, that is Shiner Bock beer. the holiday cheer brand, seasonal, if anybody's interested. Very good. I don't know what the, it's got a hint of something in it. I don't know what it is. It's got a taste of something else. I'm not exactly sure what it was. Eric Adolphson from Missouri. What's going on? Crazy Horror, Sean Kelly from Delaware. Greetings, my friend. Let's see. Warsaw Patriot says, look up on Fox News video on Fox News channel. Social media is still, background check license. Yeah. We won't even go into the background check license. I also saw something on, people are asking about the reciprocity. I think that's dead too. I really do. The Senate wouldn't touch that. The House passed it, but the Senate wouldn't touch it. So I don't think anything's gonna change there. Let's see. Really, Dan is the best 3, says breaking news. Judge Nyal of Washington State has banned the AR-15 temporary sales. What? What? Dude, let me tell you something, man. You said bring judge. So it's a judge. Do you have a link on that, Dan? Surely you got a link on that. Judges can't make laws. Judges set precedent based on laws. They can't make laws. What kind of judge can ban an AR-15? That's not his responsibility to do that. Talk about an overreach. Why do we let these people overreach like that? Honestly, I don't understand why we let them do that. Jordan, Merry Christmas from Stockton, California. Same to you, buddy. Let's see. Rafael Diaz is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Let's see. Just going over y'all's comments real quick. Yeah, Warsaw Patriot also mentions about the video, not the video, but the story about they're trying to get people to give up their social media passwords in order to buy a gun. I don't know if we talked about that last week, where they're trying to get you to give people access to your social media and your Google accounts, your Google search history, in the event you want 3 years worth, in the event you want to buy a gun. Yeah, I'm going to tell them I don't have one. And if they find my Facebook page on Facebook, I will tell them that's not me. If they show me a picture of me, I'll say, I didn't do that. That must be a bot. That must be those damn Russians again. So yeah, good luck getting my stuff. You're not getting into my stuff for whatever reason. I don't have anything to hide, but I surely don't have anything that you need to be looking at. Let's see. Craig Bryan says, I bought an AK-47 American make. How reliable are they compared to a Russian-made AK-47? Man, a freaking AK-47 is an AK-47. You can run those things into the ground. Who was the make, if you don't mind me asking? And I may not catch it if you say it again. It may scroll a little too fast. Just curious who the make is. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think High Standard, actually High Standard, the company High Standard had some they were putting out, but they weren't called a High Standard. It was like an Enter something. Enter Arms, maybe? I think that's High Standard. The company is High Standard. I think it's Enter Arms. I actually have one, I believe. Let's see here. See if that's the one that I have. Yeah, here it is. This is a, let me see who makes this. This is one of my Gun Bullies AK-47s. As you can see, it's in horrible condition. I don't ever clean these guns whenever I run a Gun Bully segment. But this was... I do not see, because it's dirty. Yeah, this is yeah, Enter Arms. You won't be able to read it, I don't think, but it says Enter Arms on the receiver right there. This is American made, out of Houston, I believe. And it's not bad. this thing has never malfunctioned. And even though it's been abused like crazy. So where the heck did I just put that? I just put the friggin' magazine down. I guess y'all probably saw where I put it. I don't know where I stuck the damn thing. Anyway, this was American made, and I got to tell you, it runs like a champ. Trying to see, it's got some cheaper furniture on. Tapco is the muzzle device. I don't know what other, because there's dirt on everything. I don't know what else there is here that that's from another company. So I don't know who the accessories are, but I mean, again, it's American made. That is an aftermarket stock I put on it. This had a wooden stock, and I put the Paratrooper stock on here also. It had all wood stuff. Not the greatest looking wood, but I mean, it really is. You get what you pay for. So that's one thing that I think an AK, you're going to be good in whatever you get from an AK standpoint. AKs are they're rock solid. You know what I mean? Let's see. Mystery Family's in the house. Misfit Minutemen's in here. Nick Bradley, Craig Bryan. I think I made the designation that you were in here already. Let's see. Yeah, Craig, if you spent $800 for yours, you must have got a decent one, because AKs are, you can get AKs at pretty good prices right now. Showed us, my daughter Nora wants a shout out. Shout out to Nora. Good luck, Nora. Hope you're old enough to shoot. Get your mom and dad to take you out shooting. Learn some good safety. You definitely, I can tell you this much, if you learn the responsibility of shooting a gun at a very young age, like whatever age you are, I don't know what age you are, that's a good thing, because you're one step ahead of everybody else, because we have a lot of very soft people growing up in this world, people who are not capable of living in the real world these days. Their kids are growing up so soft. So it's good for me to hear that your parents are introducing you to firearms at such an early age. So listen to them, because they know what they're talking about, honestly. I wish I would have listened to my parents a little more when I grew up. You know, I was talking to somebody about this crap earlier. It's funny, all the things that you tell younger people now, that you know when they get older, they're going to be like, man, that dude was right. Because you tell them now and they look at you because they all think they're 10 times smarter than you are. And you know you're right. And you know that they think you're wrong. And you're like, oh, man, in 20 years, that dude's going to look at me and go, God dang it, he was right. So listen to your parents. They're right, most likely. Let's see. Sleepy1208 says, what got you started in YouTube? Actually, it's kind of a long story, but I've been working in video. I did video back when it was still on tapes. And it was very hard to edit video. It was kind of a major process. You basically had a video tape player, and it had to go in, compress your video, and it was really hard. Your computers crashed all the time. It was tough. This was back in probably 2000, 2001. So yeah, 18 years I've been editing video. Now, obviously I'd edited video before that, but not on a computer. I mean, it was just a matter of splicing video. But I'd started doing some, non-linear editing and stuff like that. And I used to have, in 2009 or 10, I started a conservative talk show on cable television down here in Louisiana. And I enjoyed it. Of course, that was during Barack Obama's term, so there was no shortage of things to talk about that were screwed up in the government. The problem was you can't make any money in it because nobody wants to touch you with a 10-foot pole. I had people who wanted to support my show but didn't want to sponsor it because they were afraid that they would have some of their Democratic customers would see that they were sponsoring me and not do business with them. So even the people who fully supported you wouldn't give you money because they didn't want anybody else to know about it. Now, I had a couple of attorneys who would pay me because they wanted me to keep the show going. So I did it like they underwrote the show, but I couldn't tell anybody that they did because, again, they didn't want clients to know. Anyway, I started doing That's back when Obama started really hammering the gun stuff and, coming after guns and talking about guns. So I would talk about a lot of gun legislation because that's, guns have always been the most popular thing to me. Even though I was into politics, that was my passion, always has been. It's just that I guess I never looked at guns being something that people would be interested in. So and honestly, guys, I don't watch other people's stuff on YouTube. So I didn't even know all these gun YouTubers were out there. I'm still finding gun guys out there that I didn't know about. And people think that I'm being an ass about it and being pompous, like, oh, you didn't know who that was? Well, no, because I don't watch a lot of stuff online. So I didn't know that the whole gun community even existed on YouTube or anything like that. I mean, I honestly didn't. I had no clue the level of firearms on the internet and specifically YouTube. So when I started putting videos out, if I would, like say if I went and got a new gun, I would actually introduce the gun on my conservative talk show, my political show. I would say, hey, I got this new 1911 today, and I would talk about it, show it. And I'd even go out to the range and I'd shoot it. If there was gun legislation, I'd talk about that. And I noticed that those videos that I was putting out would get lots of views, lots of shares, but my political stuff didn't get quite as much attention. So I decided to make another show, a new show on cable, and I developed Legally Armed America, and immediately was on cable, So it was on cable for several years, and probably right after I started putting the show on cable television, I started splicing the show up and putting some of the little segments out on YouTube, and just that's how it happened. I mean, it just grew from there. I mean, we got, I can remember whenever. Seriously, it was a big deal that you had 300 subscribers on YouTube. 300, not 3,000 or 30,000, 300. And I was shocked that there were 300 people out there that really gave a rip about what I had to say. I mean, seriously, I was like, 300 people care what I've got to say? And I can remember people commenting on my videos at the time. Now, granted, everybody has grown a lot since then. So back then, everybody's numbers were much lower than what they are now. Again, that was 2012. No, I think 2013. So I've technically been doing Legally on America since the end of 2012, December. So I can remember that everybody else's numbers were kind of low back then. Guys would comment on my video, wow, man, you got 300 subscribers. That's awesome. I remember thinking, yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of that. And here we are today, I don't know, 120 something thousand. So we've come a long way. I mean, we've certainly grown, and it's, friends like you guys out there that watch all our stuff. So, I mean, I'm very grateful for that. I'm not one of those guys that forgets about that kind of stuff. I totally appreciate that. Let's see. Let me look at what you guys have, bro. I want to show y'all a couple of guns. So I'm hurrying to go through y'all's comments. I know I'm going to go over some of your stuff and not pay attention to it or not address it. I apologize. But yeah, I got some cool guns I want to kind of show to y'all. Keith Gregory asked if I know Jarhead 6. No, I do not. Why is Jarhead 6 being an ass? Does Jarhead 6 need to be put in timeout? Let's see. I'm looking. I don't see any comments from him. So, okay, I'm going to show y'all some guns. I've been jonesing to show y'all these for a couple of days now. Let's see. First one I'm going to show you is kind of cool. Something that I'm kind of excited about. We're going to have a lever action theme here tonight. This is a Henry 410. Very cool rifle, or shotgun. You want to call it a rifle because it looks, from here down, it looks like a rifle. But this is a friggin' shotgun. Very, very cool. Tube magazine. Very, very cool. Tube loaded. I'm not sure exactly what the count is on this, but I'd figure 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like about 5 or 6 rounds in this thing. Got your typical Henry, very smooth action, like ridiculously smooth. That's cool how that bolt comes back like that. I mean, you better be, you better make sure that you don't have a hand up here. I mean, obviously that's your cocking hand. So when you work it like that, but that bolt's going to come back like that, you know. But very smooth trigger. I mean, just a sweet, sweet trigger. If you look at the wood on this thing, very pretty wood grain on it. It's got checkering on the fore end. That's really nice. I really like that. That's pretty. Kind of intimidating looking when you look at a rifle made like this with a shotgun barrel on it. Like I said, it's kind of intimidating. It makes it look like it's a freaking 44 or something like that. Just really, really, really good. It's got kind of a, it's not Parkerized. I'm pretty sure that's not Parkerized, but it does have a matte finish to it. You can see right there by the bolt. It's not shiny at all. It's not like a typical bluing or anything, but it's very, very pretty. Very, very pretty. I really like this thing, man. I mean, I can see. I have not shot it yet. Very excited to go shoot this thing. It's made for kids, obviously. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a 410. It's not like it's going to hit you that hard. So it's made for the youth. I mean, the length of pull is kind of small, of course, but I'm going to shoot it. Looking forward to it. It's got a sling attachment right there. Very cool little gun, man. Of course, on the stock too. Cool little gun. Very cool. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now, I wouldn't say this is my pride and joy, but this is one of my new pride and joys. This thing is fine. I've had a lot of requests from people to do a video on the Winchester 1873, the gun that won the West, and I got one. Case hardened steel. Look how beautiful that case hardened steel is. I mean, that is some fine, fine case hardened steel right there. You got to admit, that's pretty fine. Even the cocking lever is case hardened. Buttstock plate is also case hardened. The ring at the front of the fore end is case hardened. Very pretty case hardening right there. I mean, this thing is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's just a beautiful gun. There was a side of the wood that just blew my mind. A couple of things that I noticed in it. Yeah, it's this side. Look how pretty that wood grain is. Isn't that some fine wood? Even if you're not a rifle person, that is fine, fine wood. And there was a second, when I held this thing, yeah, there it is. Where the fore end, you have to look at it at the right angle. But the fore end has a, if you're familiar with wood grains and how they work, it has a quilted pattern to it. You don't see it straight on. Actually, you do see it straight on. I don't know if you can see that kind of quilted pattern on there. I'm looking at the video with y'all. Can't really see it in the video, I guess. But it does. See the ripples that come across here? Those ripples right there, you can see them like, there you go. Those are ripples right there in the wood. That gives it like a kind of like a guitar has a quilted pattern to it. Maple, quilted maple is a thing in guitars, and this walnut stock has that very same quilted look. It's got all the characteristics except one of the modern rifle, the original 1870. Excuse me, it is a modern rifle, but it's got the characteristics of the 1873 original, in that it's got kind of like this. I forget what it's called. It's called something, but if you want to shoot it, you come on down here and you bring your lever back, and it's almost like a grip safety on a 1911. If you notice, there's this little nub right here, right there, if you can see that. Try to get where you can, there you can see it right there. That thing right there. What that is again, kind of like a grip safety. You have to close your lever, and then you have, the trigger will not engage until you depress that thing all the way, and then it will fire. So I don't like that. Not a big fan of that. I mean, it takes the originality out of it. I'm okay with it. I mean, I get it, but I don't need it. But other than that, it's all, I mean, it's authentic from the sights. to the tang on it, the way the tang is made into the stock. The octagonal barrel, if you'll notice, it's a full octagonal barrel. It's not round in the front or round in the back. Some of the barrels that you'll see on some of the models, various models out there of different types of rifles, are either round in the back and then it turns into octagonal, or it's sometimes they're round in the front and they're octagonal back here. This is a full, complete octagonal barrel from the receiver all the way to the muzzle, and it's octagonal all the way around. And this is, by the way, the caliber is 4440. That is the original model 1873, what it was chambered in. So it is in the Old West caliber. So very, very cool gun. I mean, and the action, smooth. Very smooth. Trigger is crisp. Crisp like that untainted romaine lettuce. Unbelievable. This is a beautiful gun. Of course, I'm shooting this off of a bootleg, cheap camera, so you can't appreciate the way it looks. I'm going to run at least one very good video on this gun, and I can't wait for you guys to see it, because I will be able to reveal and show its true beauty, because this thing is fine. It's really, I'm very excited about this rifle. And you know what? What's funny is, now I like vintage guns, but I've never been a big lever action rifle guy. It's not been my thing. I like true old stuff. I like a lot of the old vintage semi-auto type stuff. The M1 Garand, the M1 carbine, things like that. I just like cool old stuff. I don't need it to be 500 years old to like it. Like this gun, is an old gun. But this is one that I've always had an eye on, and a lot of people have emailed me, commented on videos. Hey man, when are you going to do a lever action review? When are you going to do something on the Winchester 1873? Well, now I'm doing it. So, and I've always liked, the feel of a lever action gun. This is an older, it's octagonal barrel also, an older Henry repeating rifle, 22. And man, this is a fine little gun here too. Of course, you see the one behind me. This is a Henry rifle also. But, I mean, they're just Henrys. I got to say, I've probably never been into the whole Winchester 1873 thing, because I'm so spoiled to these Henrys. Henrys, their action is just unbelievable. It's like butter. I mean, it's like butter. Very, very smooth. I'm not even sure. It's probably 22, but I'm not even sure what caliber. That was a 22 that I just had right there. Yeah, this is a 22. Very cool gun here. Just unbelievable how these things were made. Beautiful, beautiful firearms. I mean, look at the scroll work on this thing, if you can see that. This one here is commemorative to all 5 branches of the military. That's why it's got the 5 medallions on there. And you can see the scroll work there also. And let's see, yeah. And it's got the God Bless America on the buttstock right there. Very cool gun. Very cool. I might actually take that one out and shoot it. It's never been shot. Kind of funny, something to bring up is I was at my father-in-law's earlier, and my father-in-law is a big lever action guy. He owns probably every Henry. I shouldn't say that. He's got all of the nice Henrys ever made. So I was showing him this Winchester 1873, and he was admiring it. And whenever I told him, I said, man, I said, the only thing is, I said, you see how this is clunky? I mean, it's smooth by 1873 standards, but it's still not as smooth as the Henry. And I told him, I said, man, I said, the lever action on that Winchester is nice, but it's nothing like a Henry. And this man has been, he's been collecting Henry repeating rifles for probably 20 years now. He's just got, I mean, 44 Magnums, 357s, you name them, he's got their rifles. And when he told me, he said, really, the Henrys are smoother than the Winchester? I said, oh, yeah. And I let him, work this one. And he goes, well, I've never cocked one of my Henrys. I was like, what? I said, none of them? He goes, no. This man just buys these things and puts them in his gun safe. I mean, he might hold one like this, but I've only ever seen him hold one like this. That's the only way that I ever see him hold one. He just loves the guns. They're beautiful. And he buys them and puts them up. And I told him, I said, well, let me tell you something. When you pass away, I'm going to shoot every damn one of those things. I will be shooting them. He's like, oh, man, don't say that. Because I will. I'm going to take some of those fine Henrys of his out, and I'm going to shoot them. I don't know why he doesn't shoot them. Like I told him, I said, you're not going to ever sell them, so what does it matter? Just go shoot the darn things. I mean, they've been test fired from the manufacturer anyway, so just go shoot them. I'm going to shoot them. I'm telling you, I'm going to shoot them damn things. Oh, man. But I mean, lever action. I think the thing about lever action that I appreciate and really get a kick out of is the whole, oh man, the mystique of them, how they really, I mean, people relied on these things to save their lives. I mean, it was unbelievable how when you bought a gun, that was almost like buying security in your home. Like, without a gun, it was like having a house with no doors on it. You know what I mean? It was just, that wasn't like me and you saying we buy a gun to protect ourselves. I mean, they were protecting themselves on a 24-hour basis with their guns. I mean, they walked around with their guns. They carried their guns everywhere. You know, the older 1873s had that piece on the stock over here that it had like a saddle ring on it, that because the carbine versions of them, like this is a 24-inch version. So the 20-inch barrels that were about this long, that was more popular for the guys riding around on their horses and whatnot, because obviously they didn't protrude as much. You know, you could put them in a little scabbard on the side of your saddle, and they didn't stick up as much. You could ride a whole lot more comfortable. So they would carry those carbines, and they started making the carbines with the saddle ring on them, built into them, so that you could harness this thing to your saddle so it wouldn't fly out while you were riding or something like that. Because they were that much of a mainstay in what people were doing back then. I mean, it was unbelievable how these guns, the 1866 and the 1873s, were so popular back then because everybody had them. All the Indians had them. Heck, I think more Indians had 1873s. A lot of the, and I don't want to get this wrong, but I know a lot of the cavalry, a lot of the Western guys, it was split kind of between the Henrys and the Winchesters. I have to get this right. I have to go back and look and see the history on them, but I know Winchester bought Henry at some point. Henry was the original making all these guns, 1866. And then Winchester bought them out, continued making in 1866. And again, I don't want to screw the history up. I don't want anybody getting mad at me because that's just at a very high level that I know that. I'm going to do my research before I do my video on this gun, so I'll be able to clear that up. But when they were making these guns back then, it was like, man, it was a status symbol. You know what I mean? It was a status. If you go back and look, and I've got a pretty cool book downstairs, man, Jesse James carried one of these. Exact same gun. Jesse James carried. Now, it wasn't case hardened, of course. It was nickel plated. Actually, it was might have been brass. Might have been a brass receiver. But yeah, Jesse James, most of the guys in the James gang, they either had an 1873 like Jesse James had, or they had an 1866. A lot of his other hands had 1866s. So yeah, man, it was back then, it was unbelievable. I mean, I think that was the kind of like the age of guns back when, you know, yeah, we call it a status symbol, but if you showed up without a gun, people wondered where your gun was. You know what I mean? It's just, did your gun get stolen? That kind of thing. You know, why don't you have your gun with you? But anyway, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I'm going to put a video together. I'm going to be as thorough as I can. It's going to be fun. It's going to be neat because I get to shoot this guy for one, just to show how smooth and nice and just unbelievable the Henry's action is. I'm probably going to include this. Look, y'all, I'm telling you. I know this is 22 and it's lighter action, but look. You see how smooth that is? Look how little effort. I can use one finger to do that. Now watch. Again, I know these are different calibers and all that, but Winchester is just not the same. I mean, it's still smooth, but it's a little more clunky. And guys, make no mistake, I'm not trying to beat up on Winchester because I'm a Winchester fan. I'm just saying Henry is, I have read where, and of course this is a modern, this 22 on that Henry is a more modern 22. I mean, it's decked out as far as, you know, the best way to make a gun, that kind of thing. But the Winchester is said to have, whenever Winchester bought out Henry, it's said that Winchester modified and greatly improved upon the Henry lever action rifles. Now, I've never held or shot an 1866 by Henry or been able to compare that to an 1866 by Winchester. So I'm not really sure, you know, I can't make that comparison, but supposedly they were greatly improved. Now, this one is made, this Winchester is made just like the 1873 was made back then. There's nothing modern on it except for that little kind of safety thing that it's got, that little grip safety or cocking safety. But anyway, let's see. Let me go through some of y'all's comments real quick. JD Choppers 65 says, fairly new to the channel. Paul, hey, I'm jealous and big fan. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for joining us, JD. I appreciate that, man. And thanks for the kind words. And all of you guys, I mean, a lot of you guys are real kind on the comments and all that. And I appreciate it. I don't expect that, but I mean, I do appreciate it when you guys are nice about it. Let's see. I'm clicking the wrong thing here. Wow. Show just says, I truly miss the South. Michigan is just not where I belong. Yeah, dude. Do not take me out of Louisiana and put me in Michigan. Don't do it. Nick Bradley says, maybe he's not talking to me, but how long before you get your kid a gun or let him shoot one? My kid has special needs. I don't know if you're asking my advice on this, but my kid has special needs, so my kid will never be able to shoot a gun. My theory on that is, and I say theory because I don't have anything to base it on because my kid's not going to be able to shoot. I would say that every kid is different, just like we're all different. Some kids mature a little quicker, some don't. If your kid is a little peckerhead and can't show any kind of real, I guess, desire to be safe, I wouldn't introduce them too early because it might make them curious to where the point where they start messing with them while you're not around. I think you can kind of gauge your own kid based on that. To me, I would see how, you know, my kids are doing, take them out, let them shoot with supervision and see how they react. You know, if they act like they want to do stupid stuff, I'd keep them away from the guns. You know, if they seem to be real responsible and act mature, you know what? You still want them to have adult supervision. I don't think any kid needs to be running around out there unsupervised shooting guns. Not at a really young age is what I'm saying. We used to go hunting. I was in high school, and we used to go hunting after school. We'd throw our shotguns in the back seat of the car or behind the seat of the truck, back when you could do such a thing. And we would go hunting in fields not far from our high school and go dove hunting in the afternoon. I mean, we're talking about 15, 16, 17 years old. Our parents knew we were going. It was just like going to play football, you know, after school or something like that. They knew we were going to do it. They didn't care. So we had our licenses and all that. So I don't know. Times have definitely changed, haven't they? Let's see. I'm scrolling through y'all stuff, guys. Couple things. Keith Gregory says, why no super chat? You know what? I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what super chat is. I know I've seen it on there. I just don't know what it does. I don't know the difference. So maybe somebody can shoot me an email and enlighten me. If it's something that I feel like we need to do, I'll do it. I don't have a problem with it, but you know, just not something that I've ever looked at trying to do. Let's Let's see. Hey, Fresh Fowler says, good evening, Paul. Love what you do for the Second Amendment. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys supporting it as well. It's not me. You guys don't support it, we're dead in the water. Is there any Democrat nominee for Preston M asks, is there any Democrat nominees for 2020 president's race you were scared of getting a bid for president? Well, Cory Booker for one, because I don't want him to grab my pecker. Cory Booker, the guy that sat up there and tried to scold Kavanaugh during the approvals during the Supreme Court, whatever you want to call it. He sat there and scolded Kavanaugh on how we need to believe these women, these poor victims, and really talk down to them. And then all of a sudden, he gets busted for, he follows this, apparently this gay guy had made a comment, I don't know where, I don't know if it was on social media or what it was, but it made a comment how Cory Booker was his hero. And Cory Booker, the gay guy goes into a bathroom, and Cory Booker from New Jersey kind of like follows him in there real quick, closes the door and locks it behind him and puts his hand on the guy's junk, and then takes the guy's hand and puts it on his junk and tells him how much of a turn on it is that somebody else thinks he's a hero. And this guy reported it, and you don't hear anything about it. Nothing about it. I can promise you this, if I did that, you'd hear about it. And that's just little old me down here. But Cory Booker can do it, and it doesn't matter. So I'm scared of Cory Booker getting in there simply because I don't ever want to be around the guy and he grabs my pecker. Honestly, none of the Democrats scare me. I think they're all, excuse my French, batshit crazy. I think they're nuttier than a fruitcake. And I think Kamala Harris, she slept with Willie Brown for many years to get where she is. That'll come out. I think that will hurt her, even though she's a black woman. And I feel like a black woman has the best chance of all because they're black and they're female. This is not a race thing as far as, I'm not a racist thing, but you see how easy it was for an unqualified black male like Barack Obama to win because he got, black people showed up. It's not me being racist, guys. Statistics back up exactly what I'm saying. When Obama voted, or excuse me, when Obama ran, the black votership before that was appalling. Black people didn't show up to vote. Obama ran and they all came out. 90% of the, available black people to vote came out and voted. So it's scary to me if a black person runs only because they have a chance just by default, that some of the stupid people out there that are racist, that only vote based on race, will come out and vote for a black person. And of course, everybody seems to think that women ought to be, for some reason, women should be the next president. I think we've really lost sight of voting for the best candidate. You know what I mean? Why don't we vote for the best person to run our country? Why don't we stop trying to say it's time for a black person to be president? It's time for an Asian person to be president. It's time for a woman to be president. It's time for a transgender person to be president. You know what? That doesn't qualify you. None of that qualifies you to do anything. Nothing. Let's see what your record is to run our country. That's what we need to be worried about. We're so worried about these stupid identity politics out there right now. We're so worried about who's running instead of what they've actually done. And that's what's sad about the whole thing. We're so wrapped up in this thing too. And I know white people do it too. I'm not saying just black people. There's some racist whites out there that I know voted against Obama just because he was black, because they didn't want him to win. So, I mean, I get it. It works both ways. I'm not sitting here claiming that only black people are racist. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is it's a shame that we even look at that. There's white people that voted for Obama just because he was black also. I mean, that's racist too. The whole thing Martin Luther King says about, judging somebody by their character, not the color of their skin. People voted for Obama, white, black, every other color out there, just because he was black, because they wanted to have a black president. He wasn't qualified. I mean, don't sit here and tell me that the guy was qualified to be our president. He was absolutely not qualified. This guy was a bake sale organizer in Chicago that had been a senator for a very short period of time. He wasn't even through a full term of being a senator yet, and he got elected president. Don't tell me the guy was qualified. He was absolutely not qualified. So, I mean, he was well-spoken and he was a black guy and he got a lot of votes because of that. And it's a shame because I know people voted against him because of that too. His numbers would have, Barack Obama would have won by even more if there weren't racist white people that voted against him too. Now, I voted against Barack Obama because he was a horrible candidate. He had nothing to do with his skin color. I'm sure a lot of you guys did too. But there were people that voted against him because he was black. Let's face it. We understand that. For the same reason, a lot of them voted for him because he's black. So that's what worries me. If the left is not stupid, I know they do stupid things, but they're not totally stupid. They know that Barack Obama was not qualified. I mean, even Hillary's head is still spinning how bad she got whipped by Barack Obama because he was not qualified. And she got spanked. So that's what scares me, that they put up another America-hating person, because Barack Obama hated America. He still hates America. That's what scares me. They put together a person of color or a transgender person that hates America. You know what? You want to put together a oh gosh, what's his name out of South Carolina? I want to say Mike Lee, because I'd love for Mike Lee from Utah to run, but I know he's not going to. But what is his name? Bald-headed black guy from South Carolina. I'd vote for this guy in a heartbeat. That's just sad I can't remember the guy's name. You know, the thing is, that's what we're going to be up against. Who do they put forth? They're talking about 30-something candidates. You know, that's a lot of candidates out there. They got to start sometime soon. I mean, seriously, they have to start very, very soon, because in 2 years, well, actually a year and a half, they have to know who their candidate is. So they got to do a lot of stuff. They got to do a lot of stuff to weed out those 30-something candidates to get down to who they really want, so they can start running a legitimate campaign. So let's see. Yeah, that's right. Sleepy 1208, Tim something. It's Tim Scott. Tim Scott is I think he's a senator from South Carolina. Be an awesome president. I would vote for him. I would campaign for the man if he would run. But guess what? He's black. Hello. You'll find out how many conservatives are not racist if you run a candidate like a Tim Scott, because they would all vote for Tim Scott. Tim Scott would be one hell of a good candidate. I would love it if he would. Now, obviously, Trump's going to run, but Tim Scott's a young man. Tim Scott, I think, you know, if Trump loses, Tim Scott will be I would like to see him be the next guy up. He'd be a good guy. He's solid. If you don't know about Tim Scott, look into him. He thinks just like we do. And I don't feel like he's full of crap. Every time I listen to him, I don't feel like I'm being fed a line of crap. So anyway, drink a beer if you got it. Those of you, again, I'm drinking a Shiner Holiday Cheer beer right now. Very good beer. Seasonal. Yeah, your next says, like I said, Condoleezza Rice will win in a landslide. Condoleezza Rice would be one hell of a candidate, but she won't run, because Condoleezza Rice saw the crap that happens way too close when she was Secretary of State. Isn't that funny, guys? The conservatives are the ones that put up all of these. I say conservatives. Let me just say Republicans, because they're not all exactly that conservative. They're the ones that put the women up first. They're the ones that do all these things with women, people of color, and all that. But for some reason, conservatives and Republicans are considered the racists all the time. Exactly. Big Mo says Colin Powell. The first black Secretary of State, Colin Powell. Condoleezza Rice. There was never a black or a woman in that role before. Well, I mean, Colin Powell. Unbelievable. We can never do any right. You know what I mean? Can never do any right. It's just amazing how that kind of crap goes on. But we'll see. I mean, Trump, if Trump does not change his stance on the Second Amendment, he's not going to win, because conservatives won't come out for him. I can tell you what's going to hurt Trump. He's got to build a wall. That's not me saying that. I'm talking about conservatives. He better build a wall, or conservatives will not vote for him. He's got to build a wall. He cannot cave in on that. You remember George Bush, the one that just died, HW? Remember the read my lips, no new taxes? Then he let the Democrats talk him into raising a tax. That killed him in the next election, along with Ross Perot, of course. But that killed him. If Trump does not build a wall, the Democrats will make signs that say, build the wall with a big question mark on it. And they will campaign on that against Donald Trump. Even though they don't want the wall, they will use the build the wall slogan against Donald Trump because they're going to be reminding conservatives he didn't build the wall. He said he was going to build the wall. He didn't build it. So, I mean, that's the thing that's going to hurt Trump. I think that's going to hurt him more than anything. And again, Second Amendment. He's got to nut up on the Second Amendment. If he doesn't get it right, he really, when he punted that whole thing with the bump stocks to the ATF, pissed off a lot of gun people. So what else is he? Oh, the due process. Take the guns and worry about due process later? No. Honestly, I don't think Trump meant when he said that because, again, we all know Trump speaks before he thinks. He tweets before he thinks. When he sat in that meeting and said, don't worry about due process, we'll take the guns first and worry about due process later, I guarantee you somebody punched him in the, well, I'm not going to say, when he got out of that meeting because that was one of the stupidest things he could have ever said in front of the American people. You don't ever say stuff like that. Don't ever insinuate that you're going to try to take our freedoms away. And when he said that, I think he regretted it big time after that because you notice he hasn't said it one time since then, and I don't think he will. So we'll see. I mean, we will definitely see. I don't know, man. If you thought Donald Trump and Hillary was a circus, hang on for this next round. It's going to be one of the most entertaining things from an entertainment standpoint. It's going to be very entertaining, but it's going to be sickening to watch it. You're going to be so glad when it's finally over with. But this next election series is going to be unbelievable when it takes shape. Unbelievable. Because once the dust settles, first of all, it's going to be just like it was with the last election. The Democrats are going to tear themselves apart because there's so many of them that they're going to have to get dirty and they're going to have to get nasty, to be able to rise above everybody else. And then when they finally do, it's going to get dirty because they all got dirt on each other because they all do dirty stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Guys, I'd like to field y'all's questions for the afternoon if y'all or for the rest of the show. We got 8 minutes left on this live feed. So if you got questions, shoot them at me. I'm looking through y'all stuff right now. Yeah. Philo, first of all, welcome to the show. But Philo says it doesn't matter when it comes down to it. Who else are you going to vote for? Biden, Hillary? We're stuck with him. Biden or Hillary? Biden is a legitimate shot because, again, I think he will carry that minority vote over from Barack Obama because he was part of that regime. So I think he'd be a good candidate for them. I think he would be a great candidate for Republicans because he says crazy stuff. He's just dumb. I mean, he's a child molester. He's a wacko that tells us to go shoot guns out. Just, shoot them, randomly shoot them. So, I mean, there's unbelievable stuff that the guy thinks. But anyway, Hillary, how could the Democrats even remotely consider her? I'm serious. How can they look at Hillary Clinton as a legitimate candidate for their party? The worst candidate they've ever run. Any other Democratic candidate, I firmly believe, if Joe Biden would have run against Donald Trump, Joe Biden, I think, would have won. I truly believe that. I think Joe Biden would have beat Trump handily. Hillary, nobody likes her. Her own supporters don't like her. She's an ugly person. She's not believable. She's crooked. She's killed a bunch of people. She's just a horrible, evil, hollow shell of a person. If she runs again, it will be a landslide victory for Donald Trump. Donald Trump could have sex with sheep on live television the day of the election and win if Hillary Clinton runs against him. Mark my word on that. unbelievable that she's even being talked about. They ought to tell her, go the F away. Leave us alone. We got this. But they won't, because she's so entitled and she has so much power over all of them. How sad is that? That this sick, sad little person like Hillary Clinton has that much power over Democrats. Unbelievable. No reason for her to have power. What was she, a first wife? She was the first lady? Big deal. Big deal. That's the only reason why she got her Secretary of State, because of that. And she wanted, of course, she wanted to be president. Anyway, real quick, Misfit Miniman says, how about a meet and greet range day? We can look into that. I've actually looked into, actually, Jared, I see Jared commenting, one of the moderators. Paul, the local followers want to do a range day. What do you say? Jared, you work at a range, you know, if everybody wants to do that, and we could, actually, you know what we could probably do, Jared? We could maybe do something where we actually get some gun companies to come in and do a range day and do a live feed or something like that from y'all's place. Jarrett runs a gun store with an indoor range. Truthfully, Jared, I've never been in y'all's range before, so I can't even describe it, but I know it's a little range. I think it's got 3 lanes to it, which would limit some of the things that you could shoot in there, of course, because the distance, it's a short range. But might be something to take a look at. I'd be okay with doing something like that. Again, I think it would be fun if we could get like some people to be involved, you know. I could probably get Arms Corps to kick in the ammunition. I could probably get between Rock Island, probably Daniel Defense. I could probably, for sure, Wyndham Weaponry. Fostech. I could get some people to, if not be here for that, I could get some guns sent down to us, some different kind of guns, some newer stuff. We could do something like that. Which we could do it anywhere. Doesn't have to be, I mean, Jared, if we don't do it at y'all's place, we could do it at the outdoor range. I think I'm a member of all the ranges around here. So yeah, we could do something like that. I'd be open to do that. I just don't know. I don't know when that would be, because December is obviously taken. January, I've got SHOT Show in January. I do a lot of work for SHOT Show. Actually, I've got next weekend. This is something to keep in mind. I may try to do a live stream next Friday. I'll try. It's going to depend on the timing of everything, but I will be in St. Augustine, Florida next Friday. There's a range day being put on by, I forget the name of the company, Leviathan and somebody else, where they've invited me to go down there. They're actually flying me out Friday, and I'm coming back Sunday, but the big range day is Saturday. So what I'm thinking about doing, if they have a good enough internet signal, I'm thinking about trying to stream from the range day, which a bunch of new manufacturers are coming in. I don't have my, well, my phone's over here. I'll try to put it out there, but a whole bunch of, a whole bunch of gun manufacturers like Spikes Tactical, Seekins Precision, IWI, who makes the Tavor and, you know, the Galil and all that. A bunch of those companies are going to be there. And I'm going down there to kind of like be one of the YouTube, if you want to call it that, influencers down there. They've invited me to go down there and asked me if I would, you know, go represent the gun community. So I'll be down there. I'm thinking about trying to stream if I have a good enough signal. Friday night, I should be able to stream, because it depends on what we're doing. But I think if I can pull that off, I might try to stream from the hotel or something like that Friday evening. Again, I'll be in Florida, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be cool. I'll find out if this thing's open to the public, because I know some of you guys are in Florida. If this thing is open to the public, man, come on out. I mean, I'd love to meet you guys. Everywhere I go, I bring some of our cool Legally Armed America patches, decals, and stuff like that. I'll probably bring some shirts and caps down there, depending on what I can fly over, because they're flying me out, so I don't know how much I can pack, but I'll do what I can. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, so yeah, hopefully next week, I mean, I can do some pretty cool stuff online Friday night and again Saturday if that works out. Let's see. I want to catch a couple more of your guys' comments before I bug out of here. Let's see. Yeah, your next says, I can't wait to get my 100 rounds of free 10 millimeter. Yeah, guys, if you haven't entered my contest yet, I'm taking ideas on what to do to these 1911s next. And whoever I pick will get 100 rounds of free ammunition. The hard thing, and I didn't realize this, is that I'm trying to find the right way to do this. I think I've narrowed it down to the what I want to do to these guns. But there's one particular suggestion that I want to do, and I already had it on my list, but I wasn't sure I was going to do it. So I put it out there, and everybody really wants me to do it. So I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a bunch of people that want me to do it. So I'm trying to figure out if I need to just pick the first person that suggested it, or take everybody that suggested it and put them in a hat and pull out of it to give the 100 rounds of ammo to. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Ralph McDaniel, I'd love to go to Orlando, but I'm not going to have time to go down there, I don't think. So let's see, what else? 240 Pixel says, Paul, where is your store at? I mean, city. City is Lake Charles. Mystery Family says, you doing a meet and greet over SHOT? I don't know. Is that something that we should do? Obviously, we'll be at SHOT. We did some pretty cool stuff at SHOT Show last year. We actually, we streamed from the Sequence Precision booth, I think 3 of the days of SHOT. And that was pretty darn cool. That was pretty cool. We had some very cool guests. We had Mike from Blown Deadline, does awesome Cerakoting. We had the lead singer for All That Remains metal band. He was one of our guests. Some Rock Island guys. PTR was there. Who else did we have? We had a bunch of guests on. So we're contemplating, just trying to see what we're going to do this year. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for SHOT, but we're going to do something cool. If you think a meet and greet at SHOT is good, I can find a booth and we can just set some time and do something like that. That'd be kind of fun. I'd bring a bunch of patches, T-shirts, decals, stuff like that. Let's see. Guys, I'm probably going to, let's see. Mystery Family, I don't follow what you're saying. It says, only if you guys can, because I know SHOT is nuts. SHOT is nuts. Z50 says, how do I get tickets to SHOT Show? I only live a few hundred miles from Vegas. Well, it's open to dealers, media, and gun-related industry personnel. It's not open to the public, but it's not hard to get access. I mean, if you know anybody that works at a local gun shop, like wherever you buy your stuff from, that they can get you a badge to get in there. Whatever place you frequent, if you like shop at a local gun shop, contact them and ask them, and they can get you in. I mean, seriously, they can. I mean, it's not going to be any problem getting in. Let's see. Do a serious video with the baby Browning 25 shooting balloons at 50 and 100 yards. Seriously, show off your basic shooting skills in a serious video. Like your channel, I do. That's from Obtuse One. Man, I'm a solid shot, but I don't know about that. With a 20, would you say, what gun? 25. Oh, wow. Talk about lobbing a bullet, right? 50 yards, yeah, but not 100 yards. 100 yards, well, I don't know. Just picturing it in my head. I've actually, for those of you that aren't aware, I actually shot, it was a Les Bear right behind my head here. This gun right here. It's the Premier 2. That's the one that has the 3-inch, I'm sorry, the 1.5 inch. The Premier 1 has a 3-inch. The Premier 2, which is this one, has an 1.5 inch guarantee at 50 yards. 1.5 inch grouping at 50 yards, guaranteed, or else you get your money back. So I took that gun and I got some Remington Golden Saber and I started making some long-range shots just with open sights. 200 yards, no problem. 200 yards was a joke. 300 yards, after a little while, I hit it. And then at 400 yards, the first shot, I hit the gong with it and I quit. So I made the first shot, gong, hit it, and I got away from it. So I can hit some decent long shots. I mean, that's not standing up on standing on a bag. I mean, that's laying down on a bench with my hands resting on a bag to stabilize. That's not just standing up freehanding it. But nevertheless, I hit them. So it was pretty interesting. So maybe I'll try something like that. Guys, I'm going to get on out of here, mainly because this was only my second beer, and I'm thirsty for another beer, at least to finish this one off before it gets hot. So hopefully you guys have a great weekend. I hope to see you guys here next Friday. I cannot guarantee that because I don't know where I will be at this time next Friday, and I don't know internet connection, and none of the logistics for next week I'm aware of at this point. I just know I'll be in Florida. If anybody's in Florida and going to be down that way, man, holler at me. I don't know if the range day is open to the public, but if it's not, I'll get you in. I mean, seriously, I'll get you in. These guys have invited me down there, and I know they'll allow me to bring people in there. So if anybody's in the Florida area, Georgia, anything like that, and you're interested in going, hit me up. Shoot me an email at paul@legallyarnamerica.com, and we'll see about getting you in there. And you know, I get to meet some of my friends out there that I never get to meet. So we'll see you guys. If I don't catch you next week, I will for sure catch you the following week. So thanks again, guys. Have a good weekend. Please be safe out there. Not only now is it more important to be safe because daylight savings time is getting darker at night. So if you're driving around out there, but gosh, the holiday traffic, oh my God, please be careful, guys. Please be careful. So I will see you guys hopefully next week. If not, for sure the following week. I will see you. Take care, shoot straight, and please be safe.